One of the coolest things discovered last week was a giant freshwater dolphin that turned up on the wrong continent. This is Pebanista yaracuna. Its discovery was announced last Thursday in this paper based on fossil remains that were found in what is now the Peruvian Amazon. So far, we only have a skull from Pebanista. Based on this skull, the paper authors gave a length estimate of between 3 and 3.5 meters, although based on some factors that they describe in the paper, they think that is more likely to be an underestimate than an overestimate. That's not crazy big for an ocean-going whale, but it does make Pebanista the largest known freshwater whale, living or extinct. Like, check out how big it looks next to all of these other living freshwater dolphins. Pebanista lived about 16.5 million years ago, at which time the entire western Amazon basin was this enormous connected system of swamps, floodplains, and absolutely huge freshwater lakes. This probably at least partly explains why Pebanista evolved to be so big. After all, more inland water, more room for the evolution of large freshwater creatures. But it doesn't explain the other weirdest thing about Pebanista. You know how there are modern freshwater dolphins in the Amazon basin? This thing isn't related to them. The lineage that produced Pebanista and the lineage that produced the modern Amazon river dolphin evolved to live in freshwater environments completely separately from each other. But it gets even weirder than that. It turns out that Pebanista's closest living relatives, and yes, the paper authors are really quite sure about their analysis here, are also freshwater adapted dolphins. But they live in Asia! It's these guys, the South Asian river dolphins in the genus Platanista, the Ganges river dolphin, and the Indus river dolphin. Remember, Pebanista only lived 16.5 million years ago, when the continents were basically exactly where they are now, so the only explanation for this that makes any sense at all is that the common ancestor of Pebanista and Platanista was an ocean-going dolphin whose descendants evolved to live in fresh water 2 separate times, once in South America to produce Pebanista, and a separate, unrelated time in South Asia to produce Platanista. To me, that raises some questions about, like, what the qualities of this common ancestor were that may have predisposed it to having descendants that made this jump more than once. This creature raises a lot of questions, and I hope some of them get answered in my lifetime. This and all my other content is brought to you thanks partly to my Patreon supporters, in particular Anton, Coleman, David, JD, Juan, Martin, and Michael, and the friends named on the screen behind me.